Hello everybody and happy Monday. So I want to talk to you today about net neutrality. Now this is a topic that's been covered by plenty of other YouTubers such as the Vlogbrothers, CGP Grey, and Vihart, but I feel like they didn't quite give enough background. So I spent a bunch of time reading through legalese and other primary sources, and I'm here today to present you with a bit of context as to why we're talking about it now and what it all means. So this video comes to you in three parts. First, we're going to talk about what's been going on recently that has brought this to the center of attention. Secondly, we're going to talk about internet service providers, or ISPs, and what powers they have over your internet experience. And third, we're going to take a look at some of the problems with the solutions that have been proposed. Now, I want to say from the outset that I'm not trying to advocate a particular viewpoint. I work with computers and the internet daily. It's my day job, and I am still very perplexed as to what the right approach is here. My only goal is that you walk away from this video with a bit better of an understanding of net neutrality than you did when you came in. Part 1. What is going on? 1934, the Communications Act creates the Federal Communications Commission with the intention of providing all of the citizens of these United States with a communication system of wire and radio. Okay, now let's fast forward a bit to 1996. The Telecommunications Act revised the original 1934 Communications Act. Now what's important to know about this act is that they made a distinction between telecommunication providers and information providers. Your broadband provider, Verizon or Comcast or Charter or whatever, that's an information provider, which means that it is not subject to all of these laws that apply to telecom. It also means that your broadband provider is not classified as a common carrier, which will be important very soon. Now, in 2010, perhaps because broadband providers weren't considered common carriers, the FCC released the Open Internet Order with the idea of regulating these internet providers. And it pretty much broke down into three simple rules. 1, internet providers were required to be transparent about their network practices. 2, they were not allowed to block anything that was legal. And 3, they were not allowed to unreasonably discriminate with their services. However, in 2014, this very year, there was a case, Verizon versus FCC, and the courts found that because the internet providers were not common carriers, the FCC did not have the authority to enforce those regulations. So finally we fast forward to today, and on May 15th of this year, the FCC is scheduled to submit a notice of proposed rulemaking in reaction to the fact that, oh my god, we can't regulate these people. Now this document has not been released yet, but media coverage thus far suggests that it might be a bit overly favorable to your ISP. In particular, there's a threat that the FCC might be sanctioning what's known as a fast lane, where ISPs could provide faster service for a hefty price to content providers such as Netflix. So in short, people are concerned that if on the 15th the FCC comes out sanctioning some pay-to-play model, that ISPs could be stuck with a ridiculous amount of control over the fairness of the internet, even to the point of possibly penalizing their direct competitors. So that's why this is a big deal right now. But to speculate about a document that doesn't even really exist yet is a bit tricky. So let's instead move on and talk about the ways that your ISPs can control your access. Part 2. ISPs, how do they work? Okay, so there are two common ways that ISPs will regulate internet traffic, and to illustrate this, we are going to set up our own brand new internet. I've got a lot of Ethernet cable, let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna set up my own internet and I run cables out to 4 of my friends and I charge them each $5. Now DK is emailing Victoria and Alex and Mikola are chatting, everything is great. Until one day I'm delivering a bunch of internet traffic and I start to get a bunch of requests from DK.
Gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones.
Okay, here's some Game of Thrones.
Gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones.
Okay, here's some Game of Thrones.
Gimme Game of Thrones, gimme Game of Thrones.
Alright, here's some Game of Thrones. And this goes on for quite some time, but meanwhile I get a request from Alex.
Gimme Game of Thrones.
Yeah, here's some Game of Thrones. What?
Gimme Game of Thrones.
Yeah, here's some Game of Thrones. What are you saying, Alex?
Gimme Game of Thrones.
Okay, you know what? You need to wait like 5 seconds between asking for things, just for a little bit, okay? Now, what is it you want?
Do I have any email?
Oh, yeah, here you go. And you wanted some Game of Thrones, right? Now, what I've just done is called traffic shaping. I've limited DK's connection, but I did it in order to improve Alex's connection. Now, of course, I could just do this because I was angry at DK that day, but often traffic shaping is necessary to improve the connection of the maximum amount of people on your network. So meanwhile, while I'm working out the kinks of my own internet, Hank Green has set up his own internet based in Montana. And John and Hank are using it, and Michael, Aranda, and Rosianna are using it, and I get a call, and he says, hey, Kevin, you know what we should do? We should wire our internets together, and then we can all talk to each other. So we run a cable from my apartment in NYC to Hank's house in Montana, and it's great. Everybody's now talking to each other, and I'm not gonna charge Hank $5, and Hank's not gonna charge charge me $5 because we know that we're going to be asking for roughly the same amount of information from one another's customers, and our customers in turn are going to be happier. Now this is called settlement-free peering, and it makes a lot of sense where you have situations where there's going to be roughly the same amount of data going back and forth. So both parties just agree, let's not bother tracking who delivered more of who else's stuff. We'll just call it a wash and not charge each other anything. But now let's suppose that I get this call.
Hello, I've got my own super awesome British internet. We've currently got 5 people on our network, and we all want to talk to Hank.
Do you want to talk to any of my customers? DK maybe? Alex?
Nope, we just want to talk to Hank.
Okay, do you have anybody on your network that my customers might want to talk to?
No, absolutely not. Just hook me up, man. Come on, do that free peering exchange thing you were talking about.
Now, in this case, a traffic sharing agreement doesn't make anywhere near as much sense, because all that I'm going to be doing is handing traffic back and forth between Niall's network and the Vlogbrothers network. Meanwhile, my machines are going to slow down because they've got to handle that extra traffic, and my customers are going to have a worse experience and not gain anything from it. So what's often done in this case is I'll say, I will forward your traffic from one network to another, but I'm going to charge you a bandwidth tax so that I can use that money so that I can improve my systems and my customers get an equivalent experience. This is known as a transit agreement. So now the Vlogbrother network could reach out to Niall and say, hey, we noticed that your customers are sending a lot of traffic our way. If you'd be willing to cover the costs, maybe we could set up a direct Ethernet cable from your internet to ours. And that way your customers have a faster direct route, a fast lane, if you will. So to summarize, traffic shaping is the process of restricting a particular kind of traffic in order to improve the rest. Peering is when two providers decide to just share information back and forth willy-nilly. And a transit agreement is charging a fee for exchanging information across. Part 3, let's fix it. So one of the big problems that internet users are experiencing is Netflix kind of sucks. And not just Netflix, but YouTube and Hulu and Amazon. And one of the reasons for that is because it's video, and video is really big. But it's also possible that internet providers have slowed them down, perhaps because they hope you'll watch TV. For the nostalgia factor. Now, many net neutrality activists say that even if this hasn't happened, it's going to. It's in their commercial self-interest. So we need to figure out a solution. And their proposal is that we simply classify internet providers as common carriers. That way the FCC can do that whole transparency, no blocking, no unreasonable discrimination thing that we were talking about a whole 2 sections ago. But it's important to look at the 1934 Revised Communications Act and see what other baggage comes with being a common carrier. For example, it seems like it's possible that peering, sharing stuff back and forth willy-nilly and not tracking it and not charging people for it, may not remain lawful. So could we be stuck paying long-distance charges every time we want data from people that aren't in our immediate network? Part of the problem with the common carrier definition is that it's based around the idea of a telephone line, where you have 2 people talking and you're sending data back and forth. With things like video, Google is sending you an awful lot more information right now than you are sending back. And if we had to charge based on that amount, and it was regulated, that could mean very expensive problems for Netflix and Google and other people. The real goal of net neutrality should be to try and provide the best experience to the most number of people possible. And it could be that classifying internet providers in the same way that we used to classify telephone providers could actually be a detriment to the overall user experience. What do you think? So obviously there are problems with giving internet providers the ability to just discriminate however they want, to block people, to slow down people, to do whatever they feel in their heart they want to do that day. Now I'm looking forward to reading the FCC's proposal, and I'm particularly interested to know exactly what fast lane means. If it means peering is okay, then I'm probably fine with that. If it means you're allowed to slow everybody else's traffic down and you can pay us for faster traffic, then that's most certainly a problem. It's not entirely clear, though, from everything that's been released that that's what's being proposed. I hope at the very least that I've been able to communicate that this isn't just a quick and simple problem. It's very easy in situations like this to think Netflix good, Comcast bad. I mean, Netflix has better off TED, for Pete's sake. But I do think that it's important in situations like this that we take the time, we look at the primary sources that are out there, and we do our best to treat these ideas complexly. What do you think?